Hello, this is part 58 of our comparative Bible study on the beginning of Jesus Galilean Ministry. During this part, we would like to continue talking about verses that have to do with confrontation in the Sermons on the Mount and Plain. Overall, this is our 98th New Testament Bible study. During the last Bible study, we were comparing similar sections from Jesus' Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 5 and Jesus' Sermon in the Plain in Luke chapter 6. And also attempted to highlight similar information in both sermons with similar colors. As you recall from previous Bible studies, the Sermon in the Plain is a sermon that the Lord Jesus gave while in a plane, and it's recorded in Luke chapter 6. And the Sermon on the Mount is a sermon that the Lord Jesus gave while in a mount, and it's recorded primarily in Matthew chapters 5, 6, and 7. The Sermon on the Mount is a much longer sermon, and we're only looking at a subsection of both sermons which seem to be similar here. During the last Bible study, we compared some verses which appeared to be the Lord Jesus at least advising his disciples on how they were to respond to, among other things, the confrontational actions of others. For example, the Lord Jesus told them to love their enemies, bless them that cursed them, do good to them that hated them, and pray for them that despitefully used them and persecuted them. Also, if they were to be smited or struck on one cheek, they were to turn the other cheek, and also what to do when people take away their goods, and even got into how to respond when people asked to borrow things. Let's try to pick up about where we left off. Notice here the words that I've highlighted in gold. Does this sound like the golden rule? And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise. This was from Jesus' Sermon in the Plain. Later on in the Sermon on the Mount, the Lord Jesus will make a similar statement. There it states in Matthew chapter 7, Therefore all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them, for this is the law and the prophets. Wouldn't it be great if we all did unto others as we would have them do unto us? Let's move on to the next comparison. Let's next compare the two parts highlighted in purple. In the Sermon in the Plain, the Lord Jesus is noted as saying, For if ye love them which love you, what thank have ye? For sinners also love those that love them. Similarly, in the Sermon on the Mount, it notes the Lord Jesus as saying, For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? One difference that you can notice off the bat is that the Sermon on the Mount, the Lord Jesus used the word publicans, whereas in the Sermon in the Plain, the Lord Jesus used the word sinners. Among other things, in New Testament Bible Study 58, we looked at some verses that had to do with the publicans, these apparent tax collectors, and why there may have been a negative connotation concerning them. When comparing these sections highlighted in purple, another difference is that in the Sermon in the Plain, the Lord Jesus used the word thank, which underlying Greek word appears to also be translated as favor or grace. In the Sermon on the Mount, the Lord Jesus used the word reward, which is a different word altogether. Moving on to the next comparison, let's look at the verses that I will now highlight with the color orange. Let's begin with the Sermon in the Plain. And if ye do good to them which do good to you, what thank have ye? For sinners also do even the same. Moving over to the Sermon on the Mount, we read, And if ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even the publicans so? So once again, we have here in the Sermon on the Mount, like the part highlighted in purple, the Lord Jesus used the word publicans, and he used the word sinners here in the Sermon on the Plain. In the Sermon on the Plain, it's speaking of, I'll say more broadly, do good to you, whereas in the Sermon on the Mount, it appears to be more narrow, talking about only saluting people. When I say more narrow, meaning saluting someone, or maybe even like saying hello, is maybe one thing that somebody would do to be good to somebody, but whereas here in the Sermon in the Plain it's talking about a bigger category of just doing good in general. Moving on, during the last Bible study we read this part highlighted in pink here in the Sermon in the Plain. Here we read, "And if ye lend to them of whom ye hope to receive, what thank have ye? For sinners also lend to sinners to receive as much again. But love ye your enemies, and do good, and lend, hoping for nothing again. And your reward shall be great, and ye shall be the children of the highest." Notice how that section ended with, "and ye shall be the children of the highest." Reading that last part along with this part highlighted in a light or dull green here in the Sermon in the Plain, it states, "And ye shall be the children of the highest, for he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil." Comparing that to the Sermon on the Mount, this part I've also highlighted in a light or dull green, it states, "That ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust." Both sections essentially seem to be talking about, or at least a common theme between the two, is God being kind or giving things to those who maybe don't deserve them, like the evil or the unthankful or unjust. God is way more kind and generous than he needs to be, even when undeserved. And doesn't it seem that the Lord Jesus is encouraging his disciples to do these types of things, to be the children of their Father which is in heaven, or of the highest? Let's now do our last comparison in these two sections, the parts highlighted in gray. In the Sermon in the Plain, we read, "Be ye therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful." In the Sermon on the Mount it reads, "Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect." So a big difference between the two passages in the two sermons is that in the Sermon on the Mount the Lord Jesus used the word perfect, and in the Sermon in the Plain the Lord Jesus used the word merciful. One other difference between these parts in these two sermons is that once again in the Sermon on the Mount the Lord Jesus had some additional information concerning this descriptor here after Father, which is in heaven, which is not in the Sermon in the Plain. Although there's probably a lot of other comparisons that could be made, let's stop here. I personally believe the Lord Jesus had deliberate reasons for the information included, the order, and the words chosen in both sermons. Lord willing, maybe we'll have another Bible study in the future. If I got to share anything good, it's a blessing from God.